Aloha, my name is Anna Covert, and I'm coming to you from my battleship here on the beautiful island of Oahu. This week on the Covert Code, the topic is the family of business, and my special guest is Gina Gennette, the president and CEO of Best Payment Solutions. I've had the opportunity to work with her for almost a year and been so impressed with her family owned business and some of the services that they create for all different types of industries, specifically around incentives, rebates, referrals, sales training, and just so excited to have her on the show today.
Hi, Anna. Thank you for inviting me on this podcast. I'm truly honored. Thank you.
Thank you. So to kick us off, tell us a little bit about your professional journey. How did it get started and how did it end up with you in this amazing new family business?
I worked for traditional incentive companies 15 plus years and then worked for a smaller house. And eventually I realized I wanted to own my own company and I wanted to guide the ship and create platforms that were white labeled and they doing exactly what we're doing today. And I had a vision and we really stuck with it and we run mean and lean and everybody is a great player in my company. Yes, I have family, non-family people I've worked with for 20 plus years, and we all decided we wanted to continue working together and be together. So we really have a laundry list of great customers, and they support us and believe in us.
Yeah. How do you and so when you got started, you had a vision, to create a better rebate referral product. And really your targets manufacturers to start off with manufacturers and it evolved from there. Tell me more about that.
Well, to start, I had a vision to create a company that treated the employees humanely and nicely and how I want to be treated. And that's really where we started. And I wanted to create products that were state of the art and for rebates, referral, and reviews. You really got me into reviews, to be honest.
Thank you for that. It was always such a nuisance.
Absolutely. I really believe in rebates. If you offer a customer a rebate, they'll buy because of the rebate, but only 30% actually go through the activity of redeeming the rebate. This allows manufacturers and dealers not to have to discount a product. Every time someone tells me there's a 15% discount, I always go, well, why didn't you give me the price in the first place?
Right.
So I really believe when you have a rebate, that tells me that you're going to offer a rebate. It's a different mindset. I recently was sitting and getting my tires rotated, and I watched people make the decision because of the rebate that was being offered. They purchased, but it doesn't mean that they're all going to go and run and get the rebate. So it gives marketing teams some funds to play with instead of discounting every product. That's
I could not agree more. I mean, and it's the same thing. And we see say that it's even so if everyone's listening, if you're not like a manufacturer, have a rebate. This is the same thing you can do with a promotional gift card. Like every Christmas, if, for instance, you might go to your favorite. I like to go to California Pizza Kitchen with my mother, and they always have a promotion where you buy $100 worth of gift cards, you get your own promo gift card, but you have to use it, within a certain amount of time. Most people don't use those promo gift cards and they expire. So it's basically like free money, right? Because it's a motivator and you don't only pay if someone actually uses it.
and most of the time most people forget about the promotional gift cards, but you get that feeling of you feel like you got something at the time was great.
Absolutely. So and I think that you're right also, like, with just behavioral science in general, people, it's like we call it framing, right? Like, well, when someone says, "Oh, I'm gonna give you this for free," they immediately it's like, well, why is it free? Like it must not be very good. Right. But if you add a value proposition like, oh, if you install a system or if you do X, Y, and Z, you're going to get this and it's got a value of this attached to it. That's a much different feeling than, oh, it's a discount, which you're like, well, exactly to your point. Why didn't I get it from the beginning?
Then that's really the price. That's what I think. Or if you really, another sweet spot of ours is sales incentives. So Incentive Wizard is motivating sales teams. You have appointment setters, you have closers, you have project managers, and this allows you a more professional approach internally to motivate your team. And with the bells and whistles you need, you see and you can track it. It's trackable, reportable, and and the award. So reason people do incentives is you're trying to, it's a circle. You want to rinse and repeat. You want to complete that circle. And this, with our reward stack between sales incentives, rebates, referrals, review incentives, it's completing the circle to rinse and repeat over and over again, while giving your marketing team extra budget to do other things to help with the completing the circle.
That's really interesting. And for sales teams, I think that that's, like it makes me think about the gamification, right? Because we know now that, there's a big difference of someone being like, oh, like you have to complete this course, right? This is your job and you are now required to do this training or do this class. Or, even, I mean, I do so many different CRM customizations for clients. And then as part of that launch, me and my technology director, we will schedule a bunch of trainings for the team. Okay, they're going to use a new software, or there's a new process or a new tool. Here's how you use it. And I'll tell you, I think I finally have gone to the point now where I'm like, no one's going to look at this training, or we would make videos, we would do PowerPoints, like, we went to the extent even of trying to train an agent, which is like an AI. Because what happens also is once you launch something or process, it can evolve over time, but then the documentation doesn't necessarily evolve. And what is that way to really motivate people on the team? They're not, yeah, they joined the training, but really they weren't paying attention and they were multitasking and they were just there because they have to be there, but they didn't actually learn anything. Right. And I think this is an opportunity there, like where it's fun. Like it's not like they have to, I mean, they're supposed to, but they can also get a reward from it.
Correct. And that's what's powerful. And you can reward them on the test score. So you need to engage them the entire time. Take the training. If you get 50%, if you get 80% or above, you get 100% of your incentives. If you're less than that, you get 50%. If you don't take the training, you don't get any incentives. And I've seen this change organizations for many, many of years.
Wow.
So dovetailing training with sales incentives, with knowledge, power, and rewarding in a timely manner. So that's why we always recommend fund once a week, reward. All of this needs to be in a timely manner because as much as we like it or we don't like it, we're in an instant society now. So training, you need to reward quickly.
I think you're right. And then we also call it temporal discounting. And that's a behavioral science strategy of that people value what they can have now more than their future self, right? So, and that's why people don't save for retirement. If I got or if I could get a reward of a gift card for $200 now versus the $500 one 6 months from now, I'll pick the $200 one typically because people want an immediate. They place more value on what is now versus their future self, which is temporal discounting. It's more money, but you know what? I'd rather experience it now. So I think that you're 100% right. Like pick, then they feel the money, they feel the value, and now they've got a taste and they want more.
Well, we've seen how powerful it is to fund on a Friday. So going into the weekend, especially if you have sales teams selling through the weekend. So you want to motivate them to the incentives, drop them on Thursday and get them through the finish line if they have to work Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Those are your busiest days. And it doesn't matter what vertical it is. You could sell solar, you could sell cars, you can have crew incentives in restaurants. It's what it is, getting them to the finish line and doing the best job possible.
I love that idea. So do you work in with restaurants doing this? I mean, this seems like
Yeah, crew incentives. That's what really got me started in this industry. Coco's and Caro's was my client, and my friend was the director of marketing. And Coca-Cola was in partnership with us, and we did a crew incentive. So I also work with food brokers to make sure their sales contests run smoothly when you go to the grocery stores or restaurants and you sell the food. So there's all different industries. Yes, we know each other from solar, but a manufacturer has it's a sell through, it's a channel. You got to push. You have distributors that need incentivized. A lot of manufacturers say we just discount to the distributor. That's to me, that's the wrong approach. And I hear it all day, every day. And I'm thinking, Why would you just discount the distributor when you can pull back a little bit of funds, motivate the salespeople, motivate your dealers, and have a system in place that provides that to you?
I think you're 100% right. I used to work with Times grocery store here in Hawaii, and so we did a lot of, like craft or whatever will come in with a kind of a promotion, right? Or a rebate but that was what's missing. It didn't have the full circle of, what are we going to do to get our rebate as a grocery store, right? It's like, it was on a coupon or they couponed it and they put it out, but they didn't really do much more around it. And I think there's a big opportunity there missed.
My start in one of my first sales jobs was working for a food broker. And I called Blue Diamond Almonds and I said, I never got my incentive. And I work for an incentive company now. So that was like really, I got into the food, like, because you can run contests, but the manager has to give it to the person. It has to be a little more streamlined and instantly happen. And that really resonated with me for sales incentives.
Gosh, I just had a flashback when you said that. I remember when I was a child and we were, cereal, the cereal boxes, and we would have to cut out and save the barcode or whatever. I think it was some kind of code
Yeah.
and collect them and then mail them back. And then you sometimes got your whatever Power Ranger or whatever you were getting. They didn't always come in the box. Like, oh, what was it? The cracker box.
We call it box stop programs.
Yeah, the box top program. That's right. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Even nowadays with online, like, do those still exist?
Well, in some facets, they have to exist in a way unless you upload it. Right now, our AI technology is so spot on. You upload a copy of a receipt and we can give out we can give rebates out.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, there's been a shift in the industry, I think, to bring everything online. But box top programs, was one of the starts, and we're
Wow.
that's from.
Yeah, let me ask you another question. So, what are your thoughts on leaderboards? And when I say that is, I've heard people go back and forth with, those people that are at the top, it's, they're really excited about it, but is it also a deterrent for people who are not performing well and like, or they feel like they're never going to get to the top? Like, oh my God, that guy's so far ahead. I'm never going to get there. Like, what is your thought on how people can, motivate while not alienating everyone?
Well, we segment the data first. So we just worked with a company, a manufacturer in the solar industry, an inverter company, that we nurtured their data, their dealer data, and we segmented it. And what we call that is A, B, C dealers. You always have your top dealers, and you know who they are, those players. And the goal is to bring your C's to B to A's. So you segment them, and the leaderboard needs to show the top within that segment. I don't think it's fair. It's unmotivating if the C's are looking at with the A leaders. They
Right.
think I'm not doing it. So we have a code in place to serve up different leaderboards based on dealer type, who they are. That's most important because then the C's feel like, oh, I'm competing with like dealers like me. I can win. It's achievable. That's
Yeah.
really what you want. I think it was Jack Welch. You need to bring your C's to the B's and B's to the A's. It was a book I read many years ago. But
Makes a lot of sense. And then you do that also with inside of a company at an individual employee level. Do you have the same kind of protocols?
we really truly are manufacturer to dealer to consumer, B to B to C. Working on employee incentives. Sometimes I call that a loss leader, but there's company we don't really do that.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. That's for other people. But I love your concept there. Those are for the others. So being a woman in business and a leader, like what are some of your, I guess, recommendations for listeners on, things that you've had to overcome or tips that you might have?
Is managing all the different personalities within and staying true to your own voice. I have a voice and I have specific beliefs, and I always want to stay true to the beliefs, and the people that work for me should have those same beliefs. That's staying true and staying focused, because you can become everything to everyone, but where was the core? What made you get started? And you need to stick with that, because it's easy to do different things, which is good. And you learn from it, but staying to your core and your beliefs and knowing when you need to upgrade and pivot and pull back the reins and pull back, and also not micromanage. You hired people to do the right thing, and you got to let them fly. That is, I firmly believe I have to let them fly.
Absolutely. When you interview someone or there's some, how do you get, I know there's a lot, it's like paralyzing sometimes. People, or they'll just tell you whether what kind of questions do you ask to try to get a glimpse into are your identities or is are they the right culture match?
I failed at that a few times, so I don't know. Gosh, um, I think it's time learning, and I try very hard to make sure they understand the culture and look for people who have the same beliefs and culture that I believe in, um, and really treating people the way you feel people should be treated. You can have any great company, but the failure would be to have not a one you have one person that's not a team player can bring the whole team down, and you know that. There's no secret.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely, and it's like the vibration, like, yeah, I'm a big, meditator and like vibrations and even if they're not physically with you, like you're entangled with them, and like that, like, you have into quantum entanglement, and then I feel like also another thing is my recommendation for people listening is use your gut instinct, like your spidey senses, because once someone starts, they can only fake it for so long, right? And then when you start to see, like I'm definitely guilty of giving people more chances than I think they deserve, right? And then what ends up happening, and not that everyone doesn't deserve a second chance or a third, they do, but how many times, right? And what is the process where you're going to say, you know what? Because what it does to you as a leader is it drains the resource because you can't trust and you have to micromanage, right? So it's like, okay, like, you did it, it was wrong once. Now we caught it. If it's wrong again, that's it. Like you have to be firm in that decision because otherwise, like, you're not going to be effective because you have to constantly worry that they're failing. And they usually do.
yeah.
I mean, if you found that multiple errors before, but again, I think that's it's all about, to your point, the culture. Like, are you educating them correctly? Is it your fault that they're failing? Right? Do they have those things in place to fix it? But I think that's something that I've learned is to cut ties sooner, or at least trust the way I feel. Like if I don't
Trust
feel,
the way you
yeah,
feel.
yeah,
I 100 my feelings have never been far from the mark.
yeah,
So, yeah. And it's giving people the training, the tools, and do not micromanage them. I don't believe that gets any of us anywhere. We set the vision, and the people that you have in place should be able to perform or not perform.
absolutely.
Yeah, and I sometimes have done too many chances, but we live and we learn. I just we live and we learn. We've had good clients, bad clients, and you live and you learn, and that's all you can do, and you move on.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you talked a lot about like your passion and your mission. What is your mission?
Is to build systems that companies can use, or salespeople tools to provide them the most professional resources out there, to really give them tools that they need to close sales. And that's between incentives, rebates, referrals, reviews. Those are tools that you need in your toolbox as a salesperson, as a manufacturer that is selling through a channel. When you sell through a channel, there's so many variations and so many people's opinion that if you just set the message and you're rewarding and you're doing the right thing, you will become the leader within your industry.
Absolutely. And I think, when you said that, it made me feel, I think a lot of, for people who are listening, you may not think immediately, oh, that this could apply to me. But every service, every company, every vertical works with manufacturers of some type. Right. And I think that, pretty much, I mean, you have
Well,
software.
think about a service company. So you're selling a service. Let's use pesticides company. I'm an exterminators. You bring them on, you bring them off, and they have to bring on 1 million customers a year, and they lose 1 million during winter. So this is there's tools in place that help you. Give them a rebate if you stay on and you sign up for a year. What do you get? If you give us a referral for your neighbors, we're in your neighborhood. How about you give us a review? So those tools are important for any type of company. They need it.
Type. And then what I was going to say is that, if you are working, the thing, because what I found is that a lot of, even when let's talk about solar, for example, like when I work with a solar company, a lot of times they don't realize that there are manufacturer offers and dealer and promotions available, right? Like that the manufacturer might have a rebate, they might have some type of incentive, but they never asked about it, like the DPF funds, for instance, like where like just because you would, when, and for everyone listening, as a for instance with SunPower, I was one of the very few approved vendors, meaning that when people sold SunPower equipment, they got credits and they could use them on advertising services, meaning that the manufacturer would give them money to pay me for advertising. And that can be the case in other industries. And if you don't ask, you'll never know. And if they say no, ask them about building a program. Well, like what, get out there and make it happen.
Well, what we built with the reward stack is a manufacturer could have a rebate and we bill the manufacturer directly.
Yeah.
The dealer could ask for a referral or a review and we bill in the same transaction, we can bill the dealer for their referral payments and review. So we built it so now in the case of SunPower, the manufacturer is not in charge of everything,
Right.
which is super powerful now.
That is really powerful.
Yeah. So the billing is all baked in. AI technology, reading contracts is baked in to the systems that we have in place. The tools that companies need to increase sales. And they don't have to do it on every sale is most important. And then they can use it for other marketing dollars.
Right. So, you talked a little bit about AI. What are your thoughts on the future of, are people gonna, are you having any fears in your industry? Are you hearing any chatter? What are your thoughts on the future of AI in business?
We utilize AI a lot and it's changed the landscape for us. There is a fear, and I think everybody has a fear, like where do we go next? Like what job won't be taken over by AI? But I think it's up to the leaders of each company to figure that out and know, even though we can have AI build a website, you can't have somebody checking it and actually analyzing it. So you need people. It's an adoption that I think is important and it brings back a balance, a quality of life that I think we need to embrace and we need to we're going to have to embrace it. And we will be adopters of AI. And I hate to say it, but we used to have people reading SunPower contracts, hundreds of contracts a week. And then AI took over and I didn't need people reading contracts. So that, and I don't know if that was a great job for people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, I just recently, I will say in the last 6 months, I've really started using AI and just loving it. I'm having like a romance. Like it really is. Like me and Chat PGT are like connected. And to ask it everything. I used to spend time like, with spreadsheets or even like data, I'm like analyzing. I was helping a client Kualo the other day analyze if their Facebook was performing. And the data I found was shocking, like of how bad it was, that they were overestimating everything. And I mean, even their own numbers weren't correct. But instead of having to take out Excel and do the math, I just downloaded the file, I uploaded, I told it exactly what I wanted and it spit out like the map and it was like so easy, and I think that it's not going to replace, it's just going to make our lives better because we can do the jobs we want to do, like to your point, like not having to read contracts, instead being able to free up that creative time for other things that we do care about. And on that note, like the what I've seen just in the last gosh, even since we first started talking, Gina, about your new website, the future of search, now there's a new term. Have you heard of AEO?
No.
That is Ask Engine Optimization. And it's so there's SEO, right? The search engine optimization. Now there's AEO because now what you'll see is into the motion of zero click, search has changed and it's changing rapidly. Before, if you ask the question to a search engine, what is the best place to buy, what is the best rebate company, right? Before, ads would appear at the top or organic search, right? Now, what we're starting to see at rapid speeds is any question, and that's what's called Ask Engine, right? Is now you're seeing an AI description from Gemini, if you're in Google, on the top. And what that does is it's creating what's called zero click, meaning that the results you're getting on is without you having to click on anything. That's zero click. So now
I use it every day. Every
yeah.
day.
Now you see the result. And now on the right-hand side, you're seeing what is the source? How did Google find this information for me? And if you ask that same question to Chat, PGT, or one of these other AIs, they all have different answers. They can be similar, but they're different. And here's where the opportunity lies, right? Because uh, for the world moving forward here, as the data gets better and better and AI is used more and more, it's going to replace a lot of traditional or not I'll call traditional, but ways that we typically interacted and found solutions. Right. Yeah.
Well, it's also what the part that I'd say that I think about is it's also who's training the AI. We train AI, and who's training it is what the AI rinses and repeats back. So the training of the AI, and you can go you when you chat GPT and you go to Google, you can see the difference. So it's all in the training of the AI as well.
Yeah, and I agree. And then that's what makes it really scary. I had a guest on recently, Dr. Orlando Bloom, and he talked about the different motions of AI. Now there's we're on AI, then there's S S I'm gonna forget it now. Like there's two different ones where it's like there's a actually a SMI and MSI, whatever. Where one is that now the AI is going to start to learn itself, right? It's going to be making its own decisions, and then the next step up is like where it has like a basically a brain, and I think it sounds great conceptually, but I have a lot of fears around that because to your point, and this is what developers like everyone is out there who's saying, oh, fire all there's no room for developers anymore and we're firing our developers. I've got a reality check for you. Just like you said, Gina, someone has to review that, right? And if you're having it write Python script for you or whatever you're trying to do, build a website, someone has to review that content. And it's just like when WordPress first came out. We all said, oh, it's the end of developers. It's not the end of developers. We still need them to connect systems, to make sure things work together and to see what is the source of truth because these AIs hallucinate like all the time.
Mhm, mhm. I watched an interesting article the other day from, and I think it's an ex-Google executive, and he really feels that we're gonna give our government over to AI in 15 years, and it shocked me. All governments will turn it over to AI, and I was like, "Whoa, that one scared me a little bit."
And what do I
But
mean by that? Like, what does that mean exactly?
we'll turn the government decision making over to AI.
Oh, wow.
That's a wow.
I was that like just blew my mind just that for a second. I'm like, wow.
It
Like,
was a great interview. I wish I could remember. It was a great interview I watched. So,
but maybe, and that goes back to the what is it? And this is another topic that but I've talked about a little bit, but I think it's important is that, how do we train? Because, did you hear that article that came out and he was saying that if you use please and thank you and you talk to the AI, that burns a lot of energy because of all the extra characters that are being used. So if you look globally at how many times we say thank you, please, gracias, that amount of server speed or power was X equated to X amount of trees or carbon offset, right? And at first, immediately, I was like, oh wow, like that's I don't want to be part of this, a part of that, right? So I stopped, right? And then I met someone else, and they're like, oh, absolutely not. Like if we don't train the AI to value us as humans, and that's part of it, like being thoughtful, of being, you know, kind and have gratitude, even for this tool, then that's how it will learn, right? And if you do, if you say please and thank you and you are encouraging to your AI, you will see a difference in your result than if you're not.
Correct. Oh, well, I think the future is exciting, Anna, and we just have to embrace it, know what's coming, stay informed, and still continue to have that balance. And I think AI will bring some balance for people, and that's probably what's most important. Just like work from home did. You're
Yes.
dying to see this study, and I really want to see it. Is I grew up with the latchkey kids that and now there's probably not latchkey kids as many as you think anymore.
Hmm.
So what's going to be the effect from it? So that's with AI too. I think that's where we're like things are going to change, and I believe it's for the better.
I do too. So my last question for you is, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Running an extremely successful software as a service company, extremely successful. That's where I see myself. Where do you see yourself?
Oh, I'm gonna ring a bell at the stock exchange one of these days. That's my what I manifest. I want to, yeah, I want to take a company public one
Okay.
day. And I also have been really excited about this public speaking I'm doing, and such a big advocate for the fraud prevention. And is I just every day, Gina, I just see more and more of it, and coming from big companies that are promising promising people that they have fraud prevention on their ads, and that they are, really serving their programmatic, and then I find out, well, that they're not. And I am just even more dedicated to protecting the consumer, and hopefully being able to create software that or some type of oversight that where we will be able to finally, you know, prove that their impressions run and that ads are clicked on by humans, and that there's an industry standard. Really, that's what I hope to one day help achieve with partners and my thought leadership.
Great. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anna, this go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, so thank you so much for being here, and tell everyone how they can learn more about you and connect with Best Payment Solutions.
At bestpayment.solutions.
Excellent. And to all my guests, please join me next week as I interview another industry expert in a topic to help you succeed on and offline. I'll see you in the pixels. Aloha. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Covert Code podcast. If you're loving the insights we share here, don't forget to follow us on your favorite podcast platform and leave a review. Your support helps us reach more digital innovators like you. Share this episode with your friends and colleagues on social media and help spread the word. And if you're in the solar space or just curious about where clean energy is headed, I'm thrilled to announce my brand new podcast, The Solar Coaster. We're going live on September 10th across all major platforms and YouTube. This show digs into the real stories, trends, and challenges of the solar industry, with bold conversations and powerful takeaways you won't hear anywhere else. Follow the Solar Coaster now so you don't miss a single episode. Thanks for tuning in. See you in the pixels. Aloha.